This episode is brought to you by Soultaker Fightwear, proud partners of the Jiu-Jitsu Lou podcast. You're listening to the Jiu-Jitsu Lou podcast, and I'm Lou Temlett. I know you're having a good day because either you've been on the mats, considering getting on the mats, or maybe you're creating a platform for positive body image and self-esteem. I'm so happy you're here listening or watching this episode. Please don't tap out before the end. When you can't find a wrestling school, start training jiu-jitsu. I'd like to welcome Torrie O'Neill-Strong to my podcast. Torrie, how you doing?
Hey, I love the intro. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Second time round, it's fine. Torrie, you are notorious in the UK. No, in the US.
I'm notorious.
Notorious. Okay, you are. You are very well known in your circles, and all of these conversations are really showcasing, what you're doing, what you're up to, how you're serving the community. And one of my previous guests, Petra Russell, name dropped you in her episode 126, and spoke about the Mighty Dames, which you are very well known for.
Yeah. Goodness, I don't even know where to start. Actually, it's crazy. This is our 9-year anniversary of the Dames, and it has been a ride.
9 years is incredible.
Yeah.
Where did it all start?
So like the millennial that I am, it started with a blog post. I was a blue belt, and I was just I was frustrated because some of the things that I was seeing being a larger person in the sport at my old gym, I was bigger than most of the men there. Like I'm 6'1". At the time, I think I was about 250, 260. I've since gained more, but I was a big girl, and I wanted, when you start those early days, you really want to compete. I feel like something about white and blue belt, you want to compete a lot. And I think I had went to my 4th tournament where I had nobody. And so I made a blog post, and it was called Big Girl BJJ Problems. And it was just a list of things that I kept coming up against. And I shared it on Facebook, and it got some traction. And what I really noticed is there was a lot of other women who wanted to complain as well, who had other things that were like, because women's already kind of a niche thing. It is growing, but being a larger woman is so much. It's not that many of us. So I created a Facebook group for us just to kind of create a community where we can just have these conversations, ask who's training where, who's going to what competition, and really to be cheerleaders for when we have those down days. And I'm really proud because it's probably one of the most positive jiu-jitsu spaces on Facebook. And that's and if you know martial arts, that's a hard thing to cultivate. But the women have been very protective of that space, and since then it's expanded beyond just heavyweights, where it's focusing more on body confidence and having this healthy body image and increased self-esteem. And that goes across all weight classes. So at first we were saying we were getting a lot of heavyweights and a lot of rooster weight, light featherweights, because we were opposite on the spectrum, but we were having the same issues. And then along the way, other women just started to filter in, and we have this very loyal core group of women who've literally been around for the whole 9 years, and it seems like each year we're picking up some more people. We're never going to be like the biggest brand or the biggest community, but I kind of like it that way, because we can really focus on helping the people who are in the group. And it's been one of the best things I've done. It's been the best thing I've done since joining jiu-jitsu.
I love it all. Kira in the UK has set up the over 75 kilo group, and
Mhm.
it kind of has started around the same sort of way. And equally, we're picking up the light featherweight. Not literally, we probably could. The women that don't have matches at
Yeah.
the other end of
Mhm.
the kind of weight. Um,
Mhm.
but how did it feel writing that first blog post? Did you have feelings of, do I really want to make this public?
God,
What
no.
was going through? Oh, go on, tell me.
Absolutely not. I think a lot of my life I did struggle with, speaking up for myself, for self-esteem. I was
Yep,
and I did it just wasn't something. I was very non-confrontational, and something hit right around my mid-20s where I truly just, like, I just stopped doing that. I started to be I realized that, like, there's this quote, it's like one of my favorite quotes by Audre Lorde, and it says, like, "Your silence will not protect you." And what I realized is me being quiet was doing nothing for myself. It may have made other people more, comfortable and could live in
yep,
this space of, "Oh, it's not an issue," but it was an issue for me, and I got tired of not saying anything. And I realized when I was like, "You know what? We're just gonna do it because once you click post, it's done now." And I
yep,
just and then I think what I realized is, and through all of my, communication that I do through social media, through the Dames, is I it's always shocking how many people feel exactly the same way you do. They just don't know where to
yep,
start, or they don't know how to start the conversation. So,
yeah,
like, I realize, like, maybe that's part of my role is just to be a conversation starter, not for it to be about me. So I
yeah.
really hate when things are about me, but just to create a spark so other people know that, like, hey, it's okay. We can all complain about this as a unit.
Nice. I like the fact that you've said it's not about you because
No,
um,
God, no.
it having those conversations and speaking up in the first place
Mhm,
pushes it a little bit further out there.
mhm,
And does that almost validate your voice because you're not, whilst you're owning it, it's out
mhm,
there and people can kind of, converse and
mhm.
respond to those comments and posts and things?
It's very odd, because I fluctuate a lot between having this, like, a public persona and a public, yeah, this public persona in
Yeah,
within the jujitsu space, but a lot of the time I'm very actually quiet and reserved. I like my me time. I don't wanna do anything. I would wanna sit in my hammock and read my Kindle, um, but I'm not gonna lie and say it's not nice when you when people understand where you're coming from. I think no one
yeah,
wants to be misunderstood, but when someone understands you, when it can mean a lot for one person, but when you have multiple people who are like, "Yes, exactly. Keep going." Like, when
yeah,
that feels good because you know that you're not just, talking out your butt.
yeah,
You're not just making stuff up, and you're not delusional. It's not in your head. This is
yeah,
actually what's happening.
yeah,
Again, I think that other people need to hear that as well, so they know that they're not just in their head, and
yeah.
to give them that, not permission, but kind of give themselves like, hey, it's all right. You can speak up too.
Yeah, I think you're very much a key role model in the jiu-jitsu community. Um,
Oh,
uh, yeah, I know that's uncomfortable, Tori.
yeah,
You are.
yeah,
Come on, own it, own
yeah.
it.
I I I f- I realized that about 5 years into the day. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I realized that kind of, um, in my blue belt, because even outside the dames, I competed a lot when I was a
Yeah.
white and blue belt, and there were just a lot of younger, bigger girls who were around, and I didn't realize until, like, parents were reaching out to me. I was like, "This is
Oh
crazy."
wow.
But I tend to be a pretty positive person. I do have two different kind of versions of myself, and that's the one that I do for the Mighty Dames is
Yeah.
a lot more, it's still the same unapologetically me, in that what I support, I will support across the board. I won't backtrack. I will stand 10
Yep.
toes down on what I truly believe. I just kinda edit myself a little different for the audience. And the people who are on my personal page and on my Facebook page and on the Mighty Dames page, they know
Yep.
exactly what I'm talking about. But
Good.
both of them are it's truly about, just speaking truth
Yeah.
and, you know, not backtracking, and I stand by, I wanna say, like, 95% of everything I've ever said.
Yeah. I love the fact that you show up with such confidence.
Mhm,
And the intro was about positive body image and self esteem. And
mhm,
whilst they're separate, they very much, for so many of us,
mhm.
are one and the same thing. Not for everyone, but having that confidence, having you as a role model in showing up with, kind of shoulders back, kind of
Yeah.
chest out, that real
Yeah.
voice of knowing and
Mhm,
standing with your truth. I think for
mhm.
so many of us, it's something we can, take for ourselves and start
Yeah.
role modeling that behavior, because you never know who you're going to draw into the community that
Mhm.
might not have ever considered either starting jiu-jitsu or competing at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
What has been the biggest shift or influence that you've noticed with people coming into your community?
Um, first I wanna say that, like, the person I am today is not who I was when I started jujitsu. I mean, I was a fat kid. I'm still a fat kid. I was a big girl my entire life, and
Yeah,
it I had extremely low self-worth, self-esteem. Um, I struggled, and I still struggle a lot, to appreciate my body as it is and not as it used to be and what it could be.
yeah,
Being present is very hard for me sometimes, and a lot of it, that is why I'm so loud and I am so vocal about it, because I need to tell myself more than I'm telling other people that you
yeah,
are okay right now. Your body is performing, it's doing what you need it to do. Can we be XYZ? We can always be something else, but
yeah.
today this is where you're at. So, I completely went on a tangent. I forgot what you just said.
No, it's good, and I'm pleased that you did, because just demonstrating the fact that you are not who you were when you
No.
started your jiu-jitsu journey. And I think some of us come in maybe feeling quite timid, maybe
Mhm.
feeling like we shouldn't take up space on the mats,
Yeah.
that we are not entitled or permitted
Mhm.
to be part of the community for
Mhm.
whatever reasons.
Mhm.
And usually they're self-talk reasons
Mhm.
rather than the reality of the situation, because so many gyms welcome everyone
Yeah.
as long as you're there to learn
Mhm.
and just kind of grow as a human being, but we
Yeah.
hold ourselves back so much. um,
Absolutely.
but it was, have you noticed, people coming into your community? Obviously, it's grown over the last 9 years with
Yeah.
Mighty Dames, but talk us a bit about your journey. Obviously, now from knowing that you're not who you were
Mhm.
when you started your journey, um,
Mhm.
you know, give us some narrative along the way, maybe.
Okay, so I think when I started this community, or even when I started jujitsu, I was a band kid. I was in band from 6th grade all the way through grad school, and I have an obsessive personality. I need something to do. I need a core activity, and when you do music for 14, 15 years of your life, and it's just you graduate, it's just gone.
Yeah,
And I played the tuba, so it's not like something I could just do on my downtime. It's not one of those instruments. And I played other ones, but none of I didn't. I got out of school and I got into the real world, and I realized that, like, I needed something besides just work, and then I that's how I got into jujitsu. And I feel like my entry is similar to a lot of other women, that it's intimidating.
yeah,
It was a timid thing, and my first training partner, her name's Rita. Rita is like 5 foot nothing, pure. She is the most, like, frustratingly positive person I've ever met in my life. Like, it's so genuine that you can't get annoyed, and then you still get annoyed. Like, she
Yep.
genuinely just wanted the best for you.
Love
Even when
it.
you're like, you're doing horrible. She's just there like, "You got it, you got it. You can do this." Um, and I was uncomfortable for maybe a year with, because I'm a I do have sensory issues, so being like touch, it took a
Yep.
very long time for me to just get used to, oh, you're up on somebody. It's very close. It's very
Yeah.
up close and personal. And eventually I was able to get over that. But you know, with the combination of the sport being so intimate and, either I was doing gi, but when I transitioned to no gi, it's not like you're wearing this loose thing. You're wearing very clingy, tight stuff. And that was another
Yep.
issue. I live in Florida, and I did not wear shorts, like actual shorts in any capacity, until my 20s. I felt
Yep.
uncomfortable showing my legs. I didn't want my thighs out. I just didn't do it. And then one day I went to the store and I bought some blue jean shorts. I was like, you know what? We're gonna do this. We're just gonna do it. And after that, I started looking for shorts to train in, because up to that point I was
Yep.
covered from like ankles to wrist.
Yep.
Nothing was showing, and it wasn't as comfortable. So that's when I started training in different outfits and started to feel a little bit more comfortable in my body. I
Yep.
started competing more, and I started to realize that like my body is an anomaly. I'm a like I said, I'm a big girl. There's not that many who are my size. And I was starting to realize that all the good and like all the good that my body was doing for me, how my body was producing for me in ways that I didn't imagine before. And that helped build my confidence, because like, you start competing, and at that time I was like, not to be conceited, I was good. Like, I'm good. I was good.
Love it.
I was collecting medals, and
Yep.
I was traveling to places to train with other bigger girls. And I met Melissa Lowson, and she's a local black belt. She trains out of Dark Wolf MMA, and she runs a group too called Pretty Dangerous. It's like open mats. But I'll say, to this day, if it wasn't for Rita and wasn't for Melissa, I would have quit this sport a long time ago.
Wow.
I met Melissa as a white belt, and I'd never seen anyone, even she's still not as big as me, but I never saw anyone even close to my size.
Yeah.
And she took me under her wing. She invited me to her gym. She really helped in a lot of core things about myself, and being okay being bigger, and knowing that um you can be an active competitor.
Yeah.
So all these forces started getting together, and I started winning more. You get promotions. And then I made the Mighty Dames, and I was getting more people who looked like me, who thought similarly, who had same issues, but not just in my bubble of Florida, but we were getting girls
Yep.
from Texas and California. And then, like, us Americans are beefy people. So there are a lot of us around here. And then you have a lot of people who join the sport when they're at their biggest, and they kind of whittle down, and now they're like a
Yep.
middleweight or something, but they stick with the group because of
Yeah.
the overall theme.
Yep. Yeah.
So for me, it's really been just like a transformation of, again, being able to accept my body as it
Yep.
is, and recognize all the positive that it's doing. That's why when we started, it was all about like positive body image, and we kind of twisted to making it more about body confidence and healthy body image, because it
Yep.
because I don't always feel positive about my body, but
Yep.
I am consistently confident that my body is not going to fail me. And once I realized that, and failure can mean different things,
Yep.
but my body has yet to not do what it needs to do to get me to the next day, not do what it needs to do to get me to the mat. Now, sometimes it is a broken road to get us there. It's not smooth,
Love
but
it.
my body has done what it's supposed to do, and
Yep.
it's my goal to give my body what it needs so it can
Yep.
continue to do that. And
Nice.
whether that's more sleep, whether that's I need an ice cream break for my mental health,
Yep.
it balances out. So yeah, well, that's kind of been my journey, and then tangled all into that has also been just like my mental health journey and understanding why my brain works the way it does, and getting on a medication regimen that
Yeah.
helped me process life better. And yeah, that kind of led me to just keeping this bad boy trucking along.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that journey. I
Absolutely.
really appreciate it, and I think the shift in going out and buying yourself a pair of shorts and wearing them confidently and talking to yourself and owning it. We have to trust in our bodies and our minds so much. And whilst there's an element of fear and judgment and all those other things,
Hmm.
ultimately, from what you've been saying, my mind now is thinking more about trust.
Hmm.
What is the biggest thing you have trusted in your whole jiu-jitsu journey?
Oh goodness, what have I trusted?
I mean, you
I
mentioned your friends and the
Yeah,
people that have kind of supported, but is there
yeah,
one thing that you've had to trust the most? Because if it's not always your body,
yeah.
what have you had to believe in almost to get you to where you are today?
I think that I've always how do I explain it? I've always known that I can do good things, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like, I've never had the temperament to really buckle down to be an expert in anything. I just can't do it. So I always knew that like I was a good musician. I wasn't a great musician because I was not spending hours practicing. I'm good
yeah,
at jujitsu. I'm not great at jujitsu. I have solid fundamentals, but I'm flaky sometimes. And I'm 35 now. I don't have the energy to do what I used to do, and I don't want to. Um, I think I think what I've had to trust in more than anything is just that understanding, like, hey, you're good. Like whatever you put your mind to, you're going to do good at it.
yeah,
It just your version of good is not going to be what someone else might think. And then, your version of good also might not be super extraordinary to anyone else. But I have a belief in myself that no matter what I do, and it's a little bit of delusion too. Um,
that's fine.
yeah, I have this just belief in myself that any task that I do, I'm going to do
Yeah,
well in it. I just might not be the best at it, and I'm
yeah,
okay with that.
yeah.
I'm okay not being the best as long as I put some effort towards it. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that makes sense.
It makes complete sense
Okay,
in
but
terms
yeah,
of just knowing that you can be good at
yeah,
anything you kind of set your mind to. And I think having that belief, trust in yourself that you can do that, and whatever other thing you pick up,
mhm,
from now to in your future, you
mhm,
can still do that thing. But
yeah,
regardless of any activity, that's what it is, knowing that
yeah.
you can be good at that thing.
I
It's
am
good.
definitely like the was it that jack of all trades, master of none. That is me to my core.
Yep.
Like, I do like video editing for some groups. I'm good at it. I'm not great. I don't want to be great. I'm not going to deep dive and
Yep.
learn all the intricacies. I don't need to do that. So it's like it's above like just being okay at something, but I feel like I will put effort enough to like I will sign my name to this proudly. I will say that
Yep.
this is something that I did proudly. And I'm probably not going to do more than that because I have again how my brain does work is if I spend too much time and I that's something that I'm very open with. I am bipolar too. I hyperfixate very
Yep.
very hard. So if I do spend too much time on one thing, it will consume me completely. So
Yep.
I have to put a stop at good and move to something else because you if not I will be in my room, I'll be in my office designing stuff until 6
Yep.
a.m. in the morning that I'm probably not going to use because it looks insane. But it's a way to keep me to it, honestly
Yes.
having different activities is what's kept me in jujitsu for so
Yeah.
long, because I would have quit a long time ago if this was my only focus.
Yeah. Got it. Community spotlight on the Mighty Dames. For almost a decade, the Mighty Dames has been building a community focused on confidence, healthy body image, and helping women feel stronger in themselves without needing to shrink who they are. In a world that often encourages women to stay quiet or take up less space, the Mighty Dames is about something very different, helping women speak up, be seen, and reconnect with what their bodies and voices are capable of. Through movement, mindset, and community, they've created a space where strength isn't just physical. It's about confidence, self-worth, and not feeling like you have to stay silent to fit in. You can find out more over at themightydames.com or follow at The Mighty Dames on Instagram. This is the Jiu-Jitsu Lou podcast with me, Lou Temlett, coming to you from the UK. Keep checking out the clips that drop as soon as I've recorded an episode, usually way before the episode goes live. And in 2026, I'd love to reach 1,000 subs on YouTube. Please go and subscribe and do that bell icon thing on.
Yeah.
There we go, the bell icon. Thank you, Torrie.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the platforms. Go and listen, watch. Today I'm obviously having a conversation with Torrie O'Neill-Strong. Torrie, thank you for subscribing.
Yeah, I got you.
Appreciate that. You were on cue there.
Oh gosh.
I love it. So the Mighty Dames, 9 years of the Mighty Dames, and you've got an invitational coming up on the 20th of June. Talk to me about the group of women you've got together for this invitational.
Oh my gosh. This has been something that's probably been asked of me, God, maybe since the third year.
Yeah.
And I was not going to do this as a purple belt or as a blue belt. And then we had COVID. So right now it's going to be a 16-woman bracket. And we've had a couple people drop out, but we've had other people pop in. Petra is going to be in our bracket now. She was able to slide in there. But we have a wide range of women I think we have from blue belts to black belts. It's a no-gi competition. We have people from, we have a couple of local girls from Florida. We have people coming, we have a good chunk coming from Texas, from California, from the Midwest, from North Carolina. So we have a really good blend of women who are coming from all over. It's going to be 185 and up. One of the last people to beat me in competition, her name is Brittany. She's coming in from California. I love her. I'm really excited for her to come in. And I wanted to make it a good mix of, I did cap it at blue belts just because we are doing some leg lock type things. And I'm not throwing white belts in there. I'm just not going to do it. But we have a good mix of skill level, and it's a good diverse mix of people. It's a good mix of age as well.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to have an area where, sometimes you have these blue belts who are just dominating people. It doesn't matter if they have a brown belt or a black belt, and then we have people who are in their mid to late 30s who are crushing 18-year-olds. So I wanted to have a nice mix of different people to show up, and it started as just doing 8 people and it grew to 16. So I'm sure we'll have a dropout here or there, but that's the core. And we have 5 super fights that are going to be cut in between there, and those are white and blue belts. We have right now we have a total cash pot of $2,000 that's going to be going out. So the winner of the bracket gets 1,000, third place gets 300. Second place gets 300, third place gets 100. We got a lot of good people who are sponsoring and donating. So we also have for fastest submission gets $100. Match of the night, both people get $100, and for our super fight winners, they're getting $50 each, and a crown from Chick Jitsu, because that's who we're promoting it with.
Love that.
It was really important for me to get that $50 for the super fights, because I wanted white belts and blue belts to feel like their jiu-jitsu is still worth something.
Yeah.
Even if it's just $50, but hey, nowadays $50 will get some gas in your tank. So we're doing, and it's a no buy-in competition.
Yep.
Man, jujitsu is expensive, and I was like, if I'm going to
Yes.
do, I said if I was going to do a tournament, if I was going to do an invitational, I was not going to make people pay to compete for me.
Yep.
And I wanted to try, at first it was just I was going to front $500. So that's what the Dames was doing. Like, we're going to put $500 forward. And once people realized that we were actually doing it, they donated so quickly. And that's how we were able to
Wow.
raise it from 8 to 16. And that's how we were able to have all of these other bonuses in place. And I will say, I'm only doing this once a year. This is don't expect a monthly tournament out of me. Absolutely not. This is
No.
t- this is this I it always happens where I start something I expect it to be this and it turns out to be
Yep.
this. So this is
Yes.
a once a year thing.
Yep.
Um and I picked now because I really wanted to be a good kickoff into um our 10-year anniversary, because that's where I want to have another one. I want to this is like the trial run, because I want to make that one a little bit bigger and play around
Cool.
with the format. But
Yep.
yeah, it's gonna be, so it's on June 20th and it's in Ruskin, Florida. It's at one of my friends' gyms, Aaron Harp, a fantastic heavyweight black belt, um, at their gym, Gracie Apollo Beach. So I'm so pumped. I'm so excited. I'm stressed about the
It's all fine.
logistics of everything, but I'm really excited.
I love it. For my 100 episodes, which feels like a while ago, back in October 25, I hosted a kind of Grand Prix. And,
Mhm,
I think I was aiming for 8. I think we
mhm,
had 6. I don't know.
mhm.
But I appreciate the effort and
Yeah.
time and commitment that you need to put into running these events. But you're obviously looking towards the 10-year anniversary of
Mhm.
the Mighty Dames. Will
Yeah.
it be around the same sort of time, 2027?
Yeah, 2027, right about this I used to do everything in a week. Now I'm realizing I'm just gonna spread it out into, like, 2 or 3 weeks. So we just had our first seminar in, like, 2 years. So that was, like, the kickoff of our anniversary, and it's gonna end with the cap off of our competition. So
Nice.
from February 20th to June 20th, that's in that phrase where we'll be doing a lot of different
Okay.
things. So right now we're just doing the build up to there, getting the last bit of promotion out there, um, trying to get a couple of last minute sponsors for our goodie bags to give out to the um to the competitors. Because I want, because like the truth of the matter is not everyone's going to go home with money. That's just not what it is.
Yeah.
Hopefully I get to a place where I can, again, like, even if it's 50 or $100, everyone gets something.
Yeah.
But that's not where we're at right now. So we were able to get some sponsors who make little athlete goodie bags. So at least they come, they get a competition, they get a match, they get a bag with them,
Yeah.
and they get to watch these other people compete. Because like you said, sometimes we don't get that. 16 people in one bracket is a big deal. Of
Yep.
above 185, not an open. That's a really big deal. We don't get that very often. So
Yeah.
like, I know a lot of people that are like, I'm probably gonna lose in the first round, but I got an experience. I get to watch,
Yep.
20 plus matches. And that's really what we're trying to do. Is like,
Yeah.
it's not just about one individual person who's going to win. It's about the event and getting all these women in the same area.
Yeah.
And it's just, proving that this is something, like, there are bodies to do it and it's actually
Yeah.
plausible to do. And yeah, and it's pretty cool. I'm ready to put on my support staff hat, and I will be running around like a mad woman. I'm still like because it's one thing to sell rash guards out of your garage. It's a whole
Yeah.
other thing to have to go and set up an event and figure out vendors and all this stuff.
I love it.
Um, right now, yeah.
We appreciate how much effort goes into it. Now,
Ugh.
the event, when this episode goes out, the
Mhm.
event's in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Is there any call out that you want some more help with, either for this event or for the 10-year anniversary event?
Listen, we'll worry about 10 years. Let me get through June 30th. That's my birthday. And we'll worry about 2027. But for this event, yeah, we are still looking for sponsors, either cash or items, because I understand, like, we all don't have money to to just throw around.
Yeah.
But all the money that we're going, like, it's not going into my pockets, it's going back into the event.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a small business. We have about 4 or 5 independent, like, just indie donators, or just people putting money in.
Yeah.
One of the we actually had I was so excited because we actually had a man who was like, "I love what you're doing. Here's some money." I was like, "Thank you. I
Good.
appreciate it." But he's really cool. He's supported the Dames for a while.
Good.
And yeah, so even like the money, like we have a referee, we're going to be paying a referee from that money as well.
Yeah.
So any money that comes in, it's going right back into it.
Fine.
If that means increasing prizes, if I don't have anywhere else to do it, we just keep increasing the prizes.
Love
And
it.
if you have, we have, oh, perfect timing. What is it? Open Arms, Open Guard. They just donate. They have like sticker packets for us. So they have they gave us about 30 of those. So anything you want to donate, we
Good.
have Submission Snacks is donating some items. We have a little bit of everything. So we're really
Good.
excited about what we can do. But yeah, give me your stuff. Give me your money. Give me your items. I don't care if you're just promoting stuff that you're trying to. We will be your guinea pigs. Give us some trial run stuff, though.
Love it. Love it. There we go. Please go and support Torrie O'Neill Strong and the Mighty Dames for this round. But we won't talk about the next round yet.
Okay. Yeah. No. God. No. Let me get through the summer. Let me get through June, and I still have stuff this year I haven't planned. So yeah, let's just wait.
All right. All right. Now, Torrie, I just want to head back to your mention around mental health and
Mhm.
the growth that you've had and the awareness, the increased understanding,
Mhm.
and the kind of positive impact of your mental health. Now
Yeah.
you've been in jiu-jitsu for this long.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. I would say jujitsu was bad for my mental health for a period of time. And I think that it's important to say that as well,
Yeah.
that jujitsu is absolutely a positive force. It can be fantastic, but there's also sometimes where it's not. It
Yeah.
can be bad for your mental health. We're in a sport where you get on a scale and weigh yourself in front of other people. It can be bad for your body image and for your
Yeah.
confidence and all of that. So I had all of my thoughts about myself growing up and my self-esteem, and realizing that I'm jumping into a sport where your body is at the center. And if I wanted to stay in this sport long term and not turn into someone I didn't want to be, or just to be reliving my youth, I
Yeah.
had to make a difference. I had to do something different with myself. And honestly, I think a lot of people were similar. Like, COVID forced me to stop. I always valued myself on, and I still do, which me and my therapist are working on it, on my ability to produce and what I can generate, what I can do for not just, my community, for my family, for my friends, like like
Yeah.
it's very much like, what can I do for you? That was what I was doing. And when the world shut down and I realized that I was at a place where financially I was very fortunate and I was fine. I didn't have to worry about anything, but just the activity of being still, it destroyed me
Yeah.
for it really crushed me down. I entered a very, very deep depression. And that's where I really started realizing that, okay, why am I putting this on myself? And what in my life has led me to think that my only value is what I can produce?
Yeah.
And I went through therapy and I realized that, like, there's always external factors, but also there was something with how my brain processed that was not the norm. It was
Yeah.
atypical. And once I realized, I think most millennials, we just assume we got a little bit of the ADHD. Like, we were like, we all got it. Maybe just a little bit. So I went in thinking like, I'm gonna have ADHD. They're gonna give me my little Ritalin. My brain is gonna be ready. And then they hit me with the curveball. Who's like, actually, you're bipolar. And learning that there's different types of bipolar, and the type that I have, which is 2, is very depression based, and
Yeah.
followed by not high levels of mania, but like many episodes of mania.
Yeah.
And those mini manias are when I would get hyper fixated on something. It's when I would, when you're in college and you stay up till, midnight studying, it seems normal. So much
Yeah.
of what I was doing, I thought it was just how normal people process. But then I
Yeah.
realized, no, it's not. These aren't actual things. And once I accepted it, because that was a very, very bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Once I accepted it, once I got into regular therapy, once I got and found a medication regimen that worked for me, which no one tells you that, like, that's a whole process too. You have to, sometimes it takes years to find
Yeah.
something that actually works and doesn't destroy your stomach or doesn't crush different elements of your life. So once I got on that regimen, I got in a healthier place as far as my work life balance. Once I was open to my family about the struggles that I was doing, and I realized I
Yeah.
didn't have to always be this pillar and this I was always the one people turned to, and, like,
Yeah.
I did not need to accept that role, whether they put it on me or I accepted it myself. I could reject it.
Yeah.
And once I started rejecting that and people started seeing me as, an actual person who, you know, didn't have it all together. Torrie does not have it all together. And I worked really hard to maintain a presence that I had it all together. And once I took a lot of that pressure and weight off of my own shoulders,
Yeah.
it made everything just lighter. And it's something I will struggle with for the rest of my life. I'm aware of
Yeah.
that. But I have learned how to cope. I can tell when I'm not gonna lie, I can't always tell. Um, sometimes I can
Yes, I
tell when I have a moment where I'll stop, like, am I getting a little manic?
can.
Maybe, and I'll go to my wife and I'll ask my wife. I was like, hey, do I seem? She's like, yes, you do. Go sit down. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna go sit down for now. So, but
Tori,
yeah,
I just want to interrupt you
go
by
right ahead.
asking about the when you kind of release that
Mhm,
pillar of society, community,
mhm.
and when you felt the lightest in terms of mindset. Do you have any particular moments where you felt um, I don't know, I want to say relief, but what was it you felt, and what happened?
There was never like this one moment where I was like, ugh, an exhale. It was just like little things that were, it's kind of like I was like, it wasn't like dropping a boulder off of
Yeah.
me, but it was just like the repetitive, like, dropping of pebbles. It was just like
Yeah.
I just kept little things I just kept throwing, saying no to someone for the first time.
Yeah.
Um and then keeping that no, not letting it get not getting letting them change your mind. It
Yeah.
was, spending days by myself, like doing little, like, Tory dates. I'd have my days where I go out and do stuff by myself. It was allowing myself to buy things for myself, because
Yeah.
I realized I didn't get stuff for me. I would get stuff
Yeah.
for other people. So it was, I'm gonna, like, I have somewhere around here. I have an Infinity Gauntlet from from the Infinity Wars for the Avengers. Like, I'm gonna buy it. Why not? Because I can. Um it was little things like that where I started taking care of myself, and I just realized that, you know, all of these things, sometimes it's not a big aha moment. It's just
Yeah.
unlearning. It's unlearning habits and unlearning patterns and working really, really hard to break these cycles that are, if I'm completely honest, they're comfortable.
Yeah.
They're, you know, it would be very easy for me to slip back into poor cycles because it would be what I was used to. But
Yeah.
it's just every now and then I just kind of drop something, and sometimes I pick some stuff back up, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I just have to keep unloading. And it's you look back and you look you look back, and then 6 weeks later you're like, oh wow, yeah, I'm not worrying about these things that I was that were so pressing then. I decided to let him go, and now I'm
Yeah.
so glad I don't have to worry about it anymore.
I love it. I love it. And that whole journey of there not being one big thing, that it's kind of that incremental. For me, everything relates back to learning jiu-jitsu, and it's that incremental growth. And then over time, you might reflect and go, actually, I'm really quite different from, where I was 6 months or a year or,
Yeah.
Maybe longer ago.
Mhm.
What has been your biggest or your most noticeable growth in jiu-jitsu?
Oh God. I want to like um I think it's funny because my biggest growth is when I stop trying to do too much. I think that you get into jiu-jitsu, you see like all these cool moves and
Yeah,
you see all this stuff and like, oh, I want to be the person who does XYZ and I want to do this,
yeah,
this, this, this. And I was stretching myself so thin to be a jujitsu practitioner that I was never going to be. There are
yeah,
certain I'll say now there are certain like Torrie approved moves and things that I will never do again. And when I want to say like late into my blue belt phase, early purple days, I really started to hone in on what my game was going to be.
yeah,
And and I mean like I'm basic. I'm very basic. Anyone who goes against me, they know my game. But I really buckled down into like solidifying what I'm good at and what my game was going to be. And I always use like the analogy of like a tree of where like I know like leaf to root, I know what my route is to get up.
yeah,
And everything is I have a very my core is the same of what I want to do. And then like every couple months I'll learn something else on another branch. But I'm not going everywhere. I'm not doing it. I realize I
yeah,
can't process that way.
yeah,
And once I did that, oh, it was such like it was a relief. It was like a revelation. I truly understand like, hey, you're not going to be out here doing flying arm bars. It's not your gig. You're not going to be
yeah,
out here rolling for leg locks. That's not your gig. But what you are going to do is you're going to have a rock solid base. You're going to be almost impossible to sweep. You're going to have the grindiest, dirtiest, heaviest top pressure. You're gonna make people suffer. And then it's like, okay, I've gotten this element. What's the next elevation of this? And
yeah.
then just that's how I've always learned my jujitsu. Once I
Nice.
figured out how I can learn jujitsu best for me,
Yeah,
while also taking in like it's not like I'm at classes being like, I'm not doing this. I'll do it. But once I learned everything is not for me in jujitsu.
yeah,
And once I learned that and stopped trying to like force a square
yeah.
peg into a circle, so much easier, so much lighter.
Love it. Any words of advice? I feel like this whole conversation has been words of advice for anyone, because there's so much we can kind of take away. But any kind of, last comments or advice for any of us?
Now, I would say don't take yourself too seriously.
Okay.
This is supposed to be fun. At the end of the day, the majority of us are hobbyists. This is supposed to be the thing that relieves stress from our life. This is supposed to be the thing that we go to for entertainment, for camaraderie, for community.
Yeah,
That's what this is about. And I think, and I did it. I know a lot of people do it. They get so focused on, I'm not getting promoted. I'm not getting gold medals. I'm not getting silver medals. I'm not getting the attention I want. I'm not getting the Facebook recognition. I'm not getting on Instagram. I'm not getting the
yeah,
numbers. Just take a step back and realize like, are you even enjoying this anymore? Is this for you, or is this for external factors?
yeah,
Because the moment it switches from being, unless you're a professional athlete and that's completely different, but the moment this goes from being a hobby to being a part-time job, you're going to lose yourself. So have fun. Like, you're going to fail, you're going to get tapped out. Don't take it so seriously. Yes, there's times where we have to buckle down and focus. Absolutely. But even if you lose at the world championships, guess what? It's coming back next year. And there's probably another tournament in 2 months you can jump onto. There's
yeah,
always there's always a part 2 to this sport. So like, don't get so fixated on like you're
Love
failing
it.
now, because it's going to change drastically in 3 months. Just give yourself some time and don't take yourself so seriously.
Okay, love it. It's left me with a smile, and I think most, like, that's what we need.
I have that
Everyone,
effect on people.
I love it. And I would love to come out and visit and train with you all. I'm just trying to put things out to the universe that maybe one
Absolutely.
day I can get back to the
Hey,
US and
we're getting more. I'm holding more seminars. We have a girl out here, Jody, who hosts the Body Jiu-Jitsu camp, which is a heavyweight jiu-jitsu camp as well. We're trying to get stuff going over here, so we'll let you know. We got some big stuff. Just make the trip over.
okay. Simple as that. Right. All whilst having fun. Torrie,
Yes.
it's been an absolute pleasure. I wish you all the success for the Mighty Dames Invitational. And
Thank you.
obviously, forever.
I will take that goodwill and positivity.
Love it. Thank you so much. I will
Thanks for
be
having
in
me.
touch.
All right.
Okay, thank you for getting this far. I really appreciate you sharing and just, following and subscribing, of course, on YouTube. Thank you again for listening. Catch you on the next episode of the Jiu-Jitsu Lou podcast.